So this is about the cloud SAP analytics application because SAP cloud analytic application is all about wherein whenever we are developing some any kind of analytical reports in context to the SAP cloud version, because now and then we are using cloud applications extensively, especially to create any kind of dashboards or if you want to take any kind of business decisions. It's always important for us to use some cloud applications. So that advantage in cloud applications is to manage these applications extensively, easily, right? So because we don't see any kind of configurations or something, right? So because it's a cloud application where configurations can be done easily. So there are no data centers and all everything. So virtual machines will be used wherein cloud data can be managed by anyone. In this regard, so when it comes to the SAP cloud analytics application is all about. This is what something which normally we will be using. Okay, so whatever the data you want to be maintained, okay, so whatever the files you want to be updated, or if you want to create any kind of stories in regard to the analytical application is concerned, everything can be used. At the same time, whatever the analytical application we have, if we want to create any application, if you want to build any application for any kind of data analysis, or else if you want to create any kind of analytical designers or any kind of interactive applications. So this is where generally creating of an application here. So here today I'm going to show you how to create a new analytical application using SAP Cloud. So here you can see there is an option for that, right? So wherein if you are selecting it, so there will be two things. One is about optimized design experience and second is class design. So I'm selecting the first one. Right. So this is where generally the application creation can be done, right? So whatever the required application you want to be completed. So that application implementation can be done using that, right? So we need to select the first option. So once we have selected, if you want to, there are different applications we have, right? So for example, here we have an application selecting the basic one, okay? Right. So here you can see we have if you want to create any kind of dashboards or something like wherein we can do it. Okay. So this is what generally the layout plan is. So if you want to create any kind of layouts or something of that sort, wherein this can be used. In this regard, so here you can see there are different tables or charts what can be created using this when you are creating application. Here we can say there is an option for create wherein we can do, but we need to manage some filters even, because if there is any kind of filter management, if you want to do, that can be done even. Along with that, if there are different outlines we have followed by kind of assets what we have created. Okay, because if you want to create any kind of filters or something like, right? So if you, for example, if you want to create any kind of filter lines, so all these filter lines can be created here. Next, at the same time, if there is any kind of charts you want to be prepared, whatever the required charts you want to be updated in the existing analytical software, everything can be done. So simply you can drag and drop. Okay. So for that, what we have to do, first of all, we need to select a data set or a model, because creating some data sets for the configuration purpose and creating the models is something required. So in this regard, so there are different files we have. So these are all the predefined files which are existingly available. Whatever the different applications we have, all these applications were available here. So whatever the required applications you want to be used, whichever the application we want to be used, we have to select that particular application and we can create a data model is what something we can do it. Next, at the same time, you can view even the catalogs as well. What are the required catalogs you want to be managed? Or else, for example, if there is any kind of data sphere we have, right? So if you want to create any kind of new data spheres or something like, or else if you want to create any kind of new data sets, right? So all these things can be selected. So this is all something which normally we do whenever we are working on the cloud application, when we are going to create any kind of data sets or models and all. Or else we have an option where we can create our own data sets. What are the required data sets you want to be created? Those data sets can be created. At the same time, it's not only about the creation of data sets or the models for the configuration purpose, because for the dashboard creation, whatever we are created, it's not only that. Even we have to create, if you want to create any kind of data tables can also be done. Let's say, for example, you want to create an existing model, okay? Or else if you want to select any kind of new model or something like where you can select another model, right? So whatever the model you want to be selected, whatever the model table model I'm talking about. Okay, what are the table models you want to be selected? Make sure what are the required files to be taken into consideration. Should also be managed. Okay, so here there is no model as such, right? So for example, selecting a model, no model. Where if you want to select your own model here, so we can select this model this way. Okay, so here if you can select the model, where add model means if you want to create, right? So any existing data sources, etc. So wherein if you want to create your own data models, everything can be added. So existing data models I'm talking about. Otherwise, we can create our own data models where if you want to activate it, you can activate, right? So for example, auto flow process is what something which I have selected, right? So we have selected an auto select process. If you want to add any kind of widgets to the existing application, that also can be done. So in this regard, it's always important whenever we are working on the SAP Cloud Analytical application, wherein if you want to create any dashboards for the better decision making, everything. So this is what something which we'll be doing here. Along with this, if there is any kind of text message you want to be updated, so even the text messages can be added here, right? So, for example, column one, okay, right? So column one is what something we are selecting. I'm just giving you the rough information how this can be created, okay? Right. So how this can be created, I'm just showing you, right? So that we'll be having some more idea over that. Right. So what are the required columns you want to be created? So all these columns we can create depends on the application what we creates and what are the required application you want to be updated, etc. Next, if you want to create any kind of containers, or at the same time, if you want to create any kind of layout plans, or if you want to create any kind of page books, all these things can also be done using this application, a cloud application for SAP. So this is also one of the key and important element, one need to be used. Next, when it comes to the containers, if you want to use any kind of containers, even we can use the containers, or else to develop any kind of applications wherein you can discard the data, right? So if you want to create any new applications, everything can be done. So this is what and how usually this SAP cloud application we use this. At the same time, here we have an option where if you want to create an analytical cloud application where we can select this and whatever the required information which is to be updated to the existing application by managing what are the required fields do we have, right? So or else if you want to create any kind of feature files, or if you want to create any kind of system files, all these system files can be done using this SAP software. This is what and how usually analytical reports can be created using this SAP software here, right? So this is all about this session today. So next we are going to discuss about this one, right? So data sets, etc. So if you want to create the data sets and all, we have two options. One is you can access the data from an external sources, or we need to create our own data source over here. So this I'm going to discuss in tomorrow's session. Okay, thank you.